share
My
another
financial
$75?
situations are none of your concern, actually. To get into details about the domestic violence is pretty triggering for me, and that's not to be discussed under what is here today. It's harassment.
Your husband is your direct first cousin, isn't that true?
I've received text. Please don't interrupt me. I've received text.
I think I might have just struck the absolute motherload watching these restraining orders from earlier in Thurston County. What is it with that place? It always just brings up the juiciest stuff. This chick is one of the most smarmy Karens. Actually, that might be a word that we use that you guys don't use, depending on where you are in the world. Do you use the word smarmy? It kind of means like smug and snippy, you know, that kind of like, well, I think you'll find, you know, one of those kind of chicks. Sorry, one of those kind of people. This one is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. She's just so snippy and horrible. She has a go at her father. She has a go at the lawyer. She has a go at the judge. Some random guy. No, well, maybe not the random guy, but I bet she would. Anyway, let's watch this. I'll jump in from time to time here because this one is just, it's quite something.
So let me put Ms. O'Brien, have you raise your right hand. Brooke O'Brien, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. And then Jason O'Brien, raise your right hand with me. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So I'm going to start out here. I've had an opportunity, as I said, to review. There's lots of information provided on all sides. And Mr. Johnson is representing Mr. O'Brien, and he's going to have the opportunity to ask questions of Ms. O'Brien and to present the case for Mr. O'Brien. So first off, Ms. O'Brien, then as I said, I've looked at everything. And let me just kind of open something up here again. So I have it before me. There it is. Before I allow Mr. Johnson to ask any questions, what would you like to say that you haven't already put into evidence or something you want to focus in on? Or
Your Honor, I'm just here again today to request a 1-year protection order, sadly, against my father. My father's harassed and threatened and sabotaged a lot of things regarding a DV situation as well. That was submitted as well, that he bailed out my husband in a DV situation. The mental and verbal abuse has continued into my adulthood, as I've submitted that as well. I've endured this behavior for far too long, which is why I'm here today. My father's lied in his declaration about his Facebook accounts. I've proved that in exhibits that he's perjured himself. He's used multiple Facebook accounts to harass and
you're referring to your second petition, your second response? Is that what you're referring to, those exhibits?
Well, I wasn't allowed to respond to any other exhibits prior last court date.
I have the second declaration of petitioner.
Then yes, then that was submitted.
Okay.
That is what I'm talking
those
about.
Pictures that are appended to that, is that what you're talking about, or?
Yes.
Okay.
And then on top of this, he's used those accounts for years. My father's sister, Natasha, also lied in her declaration by falsely stating that I obtained and shared content without her knowledge or permission. These were messages clearly Natasha sent to me by herself, also proven in the exhibits I provided. Natasha is no longer here with us as she has passed away. So having her to deal with this on her deathbed is quite concerning in general for her to write anything as she was medicated on morphine to pass peacefully. I believe my request for protection rises to a level of unlawful harassment, and I believe my father needs to be accountable for his behaviors that he is all of his witnesses attested to in their declarations. I believe he also, the only way that this will stop and this behavior will stop progressively will be because of legal repercussions. Thank you for your time.
So you're asking for an order that would do what? What would you want?
Protect me from all the things that I've submitted to the courts, ma'am.
So what does that mean? No contact of any kind with your father, not allow him to contact you through family, through friends, through social media, to stay
Correct.
away from you, a geographical distance?
Yes.
Just looking at your petition here to be clear what you're asking for. Let's see, you said no harm to you, no contact with you, no stalking, stay 1,000 feet away from your person, your residence, school or daycare. I didn't see any kid. Yes, of the
Yeah, her name's Gracelyn
child.
back, and yes, that will, I want her involved as well for a year.
And, all right, so all of those things you asked in your petition, that's what you're asking for,
Yes, Your Honor.
right? Let me just kind of review again to see if I have any particular question. Well, Mr. Johnson, why don't you go ahead? Do you have any questions of Ms. O'Brien?
Yes, Ms. O'Brien, isn't it true that you received financial assistance from your husband as recently as January?
How is my husband allowed or even able to give me financial assistance?
Not your husband. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Your father. Your father provided financial assistance to you and your husband as recently as January. True?
Since January, because we worked for him on in his construction company, yes. But that was also paid wages that were earned.
So those Venmo transactions, $400 here, $50
Which are directed
cetera,
towards
those-
Destin Kendrick and as well as the money that's obtained by my father for work has nothing to do with the harassment. So let's move on from that.
Well, I think it's telling. You were asking your father for money repeatedly as recently as a week before filing this order. Isn't that true?
That's untrue, actually.
Well, we have the
Yeah, a week prior to my domestic violence situation, so not technically the restraining order.
okay, but your father was Venmoing you money, Venmoing your husband at your request. True?
Untrue. It was for paid wages that were worked on his job site.
I see. And so the paid wages were in irregular increments, like $400 here, $50 there,
My
another
financial
$75.
situations are none of your concern, actually.
So Ms. O'Brien, let the question be finished and then answer it as best you can. So Mr. Johnson, want to rephrase the question? And then Ms. O'Brien, then you answer the question.
It was pretty straightforward the first time, Your Honor.
I want to hear it because they were talking over each other. So Mr. Johnson, what's the question again?
Thank you. So it's your contention here today that each and every time that Mr. O'Brien was Venmoing and sending cash money to you and your husband, it was strictly in compensation for wages.
Correct, and it's an ex-husband, thank you.
You can just really see the way this is going to go already, can't you? Oh my God, she is horrible.
Okay. And so over the course of the previous, and that was the last transaction was about a week before you filed this restraining order. Isn't that true?
To Destin Kendrick, yes.
Okay. And that was while the two of you were still together prior to the domestic violence situation.
Yes.
And the domestic violence situation that you're referring to throughout is Justin and yourself. Isn't that right?
Sorry,
Yes,
I couldn't hear that,
yes.
Mr. Johnson. What was the question?
The domestic violence situation that you've referred to numerous occasions is the domestic violence situation involving your husband and you. True?
Yes, if you read the declarations, that would be true.
Hey, listen, dickhead, his job is to ask you these questions to get you to answer them in open court. Of course, he read the declarations.
And Mr. O'Brien, my client, the respondent, was not present during any domestic violence situation between you and your husband that Mr. Kendrick, your husband, was arrested for. True?
Yes, true. It was midnight. I don't think anyone
Okay.
should be at my house at midnight, but yes.
Got it. So at midnight, you and your husband get into some sort of a domestic violence
Let's pause for a
situation.
second.
Ms. O'Brien, you need a what? What are you asking for?
To get into details about the domestic violence is pretty triggering for me, and that's not to be discussed under what is here today. It's harassment. So I don't like to discuss further into my domestic violence situation. Besides that, this is added up to my dad bailing him out of jail. That is the
Okay, so
only
you're saying
parts of that.
that it's not relevant for Mr. Johnson to ask about what happened between you and Dustin Kendrick.
Yes, it's none of his concern nor his
Okay.
business.
Well, a lot of things start to open up when we come to court, but I'm going to turn to Mr. Johnson about that. Mr. Johnson, maybe you can tell me where you're headed so I can make a decision about that objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I think I have the answers that I was looking for already, so I can move to the next series of
All right.
questions. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So your husband is your direct first cousin, isn't that true?
Ah, it's all adding up now. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
If that's what it states in the thing and what he wanted to pursue, yeah. If that's what you guys,
He's the son of Mr. O'Brien's sister, isn't that right?
yes.
And Mr. O'Brien's sister was dying of brain cancer throughout this situation. True?
Lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
Lung
and
cancer, I'm sorry.
That's kind of disregarding and sad that you guys couldn't get that right. Rest in peace, Natasha.
Yes, may she rest in peace. It was lung cancer. I apologize. So she was dying of lung cancer.
Correct.
And let me back up a second. So by your own testimony, you were working for your father. You were in a relationship, father-daughter relationship with your father, up to the point that you and your husband get involved in a domestic violence situation at midnight. Is that right?
Yes, but it's also pursued into my dad as a pattern behavior that this has not happened just more than once, which has been submitted as well in my declarations.
Got it. So you were very upset that you found out through a third party planning to bail your husband, your cousin, his nephew out of jail. True?
Oh, that was beautifully done. That was the ultimate shot across the bow there. He was bailing your husband. I'm going to assume that they're probably still legally married, and that's why he's able to say that. Because your husband, your cousin, his nephew. Oh, that was brutal. Nicely done.
Wouldn't you be upset if your father didn't believe that's in court record that happened and he decided to bail someone out in regards of strangulation, his own daughter, and putting his hands on me? I think anybody would be upset regarding that.
Ms. O'Brien, this is a difficult situation for everyone. Asking the attorneys questions or what they would feel is not relevant. I'll ask you to answer questions that you can. All right, so
Which I am doing my best
make
to
extra
do.
comments. Don't ask questions of the attorney and how they would feel about something. Simply answer the question that they pose. So, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Bryan, it's also possible that your father wanted to give his dying sister the gift of having face-to-face contact with her son before she passed. True?
I wasn't knowledgeable about that, so that's really for him to
speculation,
decide.
Mr. Johnson. I don't require Ms. O'Brien to
That's
answer
called a guilt
a
trip.
question that she has to divine what another person is thinking.
Okay.
So you don't have to answer that
So
question.
fair enough. So the reason I ask you that, Ms. O'Brien, is because it sounds like you're speculating on what your father's reason is for bailing your husband cousin out of jail.
You did it again.
So what
True?
would you like me to respond to that?
True or false?
Yeah, I'm very angry that he did that because I'm his daughter.
So you speculated
I
as
did
to
not
what
speculate anything.
his intention was in bailing his nephew out of jail.
So yes, let me
True?
respond to that. Yes. His intentions were not pure.
That
I've received text. Please don't interrupt me. I've received text from Natasha, from my, it's being sent to me that he wishes I was dead and hung, and that he wishes I was stoned to death and beaten to death. And I think that's suffice and sufficient enough to why we're here today, of why I don't want any contact with my own father, because as a mother of myself, I would never say anything about my children that way. So let's touch there.
Ms. O'Brien, you included the third-party text that you received in your original petition.
Third party text in regarding to what?
What you just stated, that he had said
Yes,
some
which was
ugly
through,
things.
yes. So why is that
You,
acceptable for anybody to tell that to anybody
ma'am,
regarding?
you included those texts
Yes, I did.
that you received somehow from third parties in your original petition, isn't that right?
I received them because she sent them to me.
You included them in your temporary in your request for a temporary order, true?
True.
And you were denied that temporary order, weren't you?
This got continued. It wasn't
No,
denied,
you
it
were
was continued.
no, you
Well,
were
I don't think we
denied.
have to parse that. We're at the hearing to determine if an order will be issued. And so I do see
So
that
let's
that
get,
is part of the evidence, and we're going to talk about it all. So, Mr. Johnson, want to move forward from what happened about whether a temporary order was issued or not. And let's get to the meat of this, whether the court should or shouldn't issue this order.
Thank you, Your Honor. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Computer just froze on me. Let me. So it is accurate that you received tens of thousands of dollars of financial support from your husband in the year leading
Father.
up to you requesting this order, or from your
Father.
negative.
thanks.
Tens and thousands of dollars seems pretty absurd to me.
Okay. Received.
So once you get those numbers, maybe you can put that
you
on
received-
paper.
Look, this isn't an argument.
It's not an
Yeah.
argument, but we
This
are
is-
here in court today
So,
to
Ms.
decipher
O'Brien,
what's
just
going
slow down, Mr. Johnson, slow down. So, Mr. Johnson asked if you received tens of thousands of
No.
dollars from your father, and what is your answer?
False. No.
Okay, so Mr.
No.
Johnson,
Thank you. But we've provided to the court the specific transactions for just 1 month, and it totals $2,850. You saw that, correct?
Correct. And that's not, it's for paid wages.
So
No, let me talk if you want an answer, please.
All right.
It's for,
it was a yes or no question, ma'am. It was a yes or no question. Here's the next question.
wonderful.
You're claiming that you worked for your father. Can you tell me what job you did working for your father?
It's under IQ construction and he doesn't actually have workman's comp. So it was to help him do dump runs. So
I
he didn't
see.
have to hire somebody to do so.
So it's your contention that you
And this isn't
did,
about money. This is about the harassment.
it's your contention that you did dump runs totaling almost $3,000 the last month
And
prior
labor.
to filing.
And labor, yes.
So this is actually the second time you filed a petition against your father, isn't that true?
This is the first time for a no contact order.
Okay. You filed this
Where did you find the
separate.
second time?
Here, let me come back to that. I'll get you the date. Hold on 1 second. Let me just go to the next question. So you also sent text messages to your father that were, I guess we could characterize.
Your feed kind of broke up there, Mr. Johnson. Say that again.
You also sent text messages to your father that would be characterized as ugly. Isn't that right?
Yeah, but this is the harassment on him, not me, because I do stand up for myself and what's wrong and what's right. I can be ugly if you are ugly towards me, but at this point, this is towards him.
Well, it would
This
be
is about him
relevant for the court
harassing.
to hear your comments to Jason O'Brien if they're within a particular amount of time here. So, Mr. Johnson, go ahead.
You've used the F word toward him in text?
Oh. Do you want a yes or no to that?
Of course, I want a yes.
Well, yes, I have, as he told me he wanted me dead. So, I mean, why don't you
So
stand up for yourself?
you're characterizing the conversation where
Where's the proof in these ugly messages
He's-
that have been submitted to the court?
you're
Dickhead. You just admitted to it anyway.
Just answer the questions, Ms. O'Brien, if you can. And that's the
Well, I said
evidence,
yes the
is
first-
this testimony. So, Mr. Johnson?
Your Honor, you're characterizing the argument that you and your father had about he perceived that you were being dishonest, and he said, "Or demised little child."
Demised little child, I'm an adult. So we can
You
kind of
were
correct that.
offended. You were offended that
You're breaking up. It's not
Mr.
quite clear.
Johnson,
You were
your connection
offended.
is not good.
you here. Let me try something different, Your Honor. Hold on a second.
Charger, type C.
Okay, can you hear me better now, Your Honor?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. You were offended that he referred to you as little child?
What's the response in that text?
Well, the response in that text is telling him to F-U-C-K, etc. Right? So that means you were offended,
So
true?
where's the evidence of these messages? Because that's not been submitted.
Uh, it, let me worry about the evidence, okay?
Okay.
I'm just simply
That's
asking.
So,
crazy.
Ms. O'Brien, evidence is testimony. Answer the questions as best you can. This is not an argument you're having with Mr. Johnson. I'm trying to get evidence so I can determine what to do here. And you're arguing with the attorney isn't helping. So please
yes, I
just
was
answer the
offended.
questions.
So, ma'am, the earlier protection order was filed and denied on December 10th, 2018. True?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So you read the declaration from Natasha saying that that she did not directly send you the communication between her and Mr. O'Brien. True?
I don't know about that one.
You read Natasha's declaration?
Yes, and it's false.
Okay. And so and Natasha passed away within the last week.
Yes.
Um So the text that he sent you about the little child, he said in that text, your lies have gone far enough. Good luck. True?
Untrue.
Well, that's what the text reads, right? You lied. I think there's a typo. Instead of lies, it's
I was
lied.
able to prove it. It was perjured.
You lied, have gone far enough. Good luck. True?
Untrue.
So, I guess I'm not clear on what part you're talking about was perjured. One of your primary claims is that he made the little child comment. Are you now saying that he did not make that comment?
Yes, he did. You asked if it
Okay,
was offensive to me, and I said
that's
yes.
that's right. But now you're saying it's perjured or something. I am not following you.
The declaration of Natasha's is
Okay,
because
but we're now turning to the text. This is the only text that was sent directly to you that is part of the evidence of this case. And that text continues with more writing from Mr. O'Brien, and it says, "You lied, have gone far enough. Good luck." Right?
right.
So he's upset about what he perceives. I'm not asking you whether you're lying or not. He's asking what he's responding to what he perceives is lying by you, right?
Right.
And you submitted a response to that, and the response was, um, "Go fuck yourself." True.
True.
You were angry with him, right?
The words are the words. Yes.
Yeah, but they're not the words of someone who's afraid of someone, are they?
I'm not afraid of my own father, but I am. This is for me to elaborate on. So excuse that. Yes, to your answer. I'm not scared of
So
my thought. Go ahead.
go ahead. That's fine.
I'm not scared of my father. I'm not scared of him, but at the same time, what he's doing is wrong and how he
So
talks to people's wrong.
got it. So you brought the petition to punish him. Is that right?
To enlighten him about his behavior, yes.
Okay. So you're upset that he bailed your husband cousin out of jail. That's what you're upset about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't trust him in
So
his actions either.
got it. So you're not under substantial emotional distress because he's called you little child, right?
That's the least of my concerns. I'm
Okay.
under mental stress and emotional stress because of what he's pursued in text messages that have been submitted of evidence to the court that he wishes I was dead and stoned to death. And that's pretty mentally destroying for anybody, if you ask me.
Okay. So I'm going to object to facts not in evidence. There's no evidence that Mr. O'Brien said that he wanted her dead or that he wanted her stoned to death. It's just the record is what the record is, Your Honor.
Which is a pattern of his behaviors. He was harassing me prior to him even
So, Your Honor, I'd like
bailing me out of jail.
I'd like a ruling on my objection. I'm objecting facts not in evidence.
Right, I am looking at petitioner's exhibit and I'm looking at a text message that, where was that? That didn't say, it said, I just wish Destin would get smart, walk away from her and leave her hanging. Brooke needs to fucking just be hung, beaten, but still live, but be taught, spelled T-O-U-G-H-T, a lesson. That's what I'm looking at. So is
That
that,
is what I referred to.
yeah, okay. So Mr. Johnson?
Okay. So it doesn't say anything about you being stoned to death.
But I think the other sufficient evidence is enough to make sure that's
Ma'am, it's a
harmful to
yes or a
someone.
no. It does not say that you're to be stoned to death, right?
Yeah. Yep,
Doesn't
that's what was read.
okay. Doesn't even say that you're to be killed, does it?
Beaten to death? Is
Says,
that what I heard? Beat?
but still live, ma'am.
But
But
still
still,
live. Wow, that's real refreshing.
Fine. And it was a message that he sent not to you, but to his own sister, right?
And there's also more evidence that was that does say stoned to death and different evidence that has been submitted. So maybe we can read through that too.
Has not been submitted, Your Honor. So we, because it doesn't exist, frankly. So the text messages, there are lots of text messages where he communicates love and affection to you. Isn't that true?
No,
Your father's never told you he loves you?
any parent would say I love you at some level or another. Yes.
Okay, so your
That
father
doesn't
has told you.
disregard from the last 3 months of harassment. You can love somebody and it still not work out.
So he was harassing you while you were working for him, and he was paying you. Is that your testimony?
Not while I was working with him and all that, but there's prior to the whole you throwing the money in there as well. This isn't about the money. This is about the harassment.
I think that the last transfer of money was January 28th, right?
Because you don't mix business and pleasure.
Okay. So when Jason was released,
When Dustin was released,
Dustin was released,
Want to make sure your client is still with us. All right.
I am.
Brian.
I'm sorry. I had to walk away, Your Honor, for a moment. Come on back.
okay.
All right, go ahead,
When
Mr.
Dustin, thank you, Your Honor. When Dustin was released, are you aware that your father took his nephew into his own home?
I'm well aware. My
And
own husband reached.
are you aware that your father took his nephew to his probation appointment the next day?
As he said.
So let's see. Just going through my notes quickly, Your Honor. Your Honor, I think that's all I have for this witness at this time.
So is Brian, anything else before I turn to Mr. O'Brien?
No.
All right, let me just see if I've got in particular. I don't think I do. So, Mr. Johnson, any evidence to present from your client?
I don't
Other
think
than,
it's,
of course,
I
is
don't-
in the court.
I don't think it's necessary, Your Honor. Let me just hold on one second.
Give you a moment to review things.
Your Honor, Mr. O'Brien wants to address the court.
All right, so I'll have you pose questions to your client.
Okay. Mr. O'Brien, you've heard the testimony of your daughter. Is it true that the money that you were sending to her husband and her family was compensation for work that they were doing for your business?
Yes and no.
Okay, can you explain? Can you clarify that?
Yes, I can. Thank you for asking. Over the years, I have helped Brooke numerous times with cars, vehicles, schooling, as such as her mother has too at times. There have been over there's been many multiple occasions where I've helped her pay her rent, sometimes her bills throughout the years, as such as her mom has too. And but during a lot of the money that I've given has not always been generated from them working for me. It has been because they might have been slow on bills or money might have been coming in a little bit slower, but dad was there to give them money. When I had the opportunity for them to work, I put them to work when they wanted to work. Hopefully that answers your question.
So let's go to the most recent, let's go to the month leading up to the filing of this petition. It looks like it's almost $3,000.
Yes,
You know if that was for work or that was as a gift? Can you speak to that?
Yes, sir, I can. For that month, yes, it was for work.
Okay. What about prior to that?
A little bit of everything. You know, I would send $50 here, $30 there. You know, if she had worked for me for 4 or 5 hours, I'd pay for that time. Because it was pretty tough for Brooke to find a job because of my granddaughter and stuff. You know, it's tough because of the scheduling on my daughter's and her part. So Brooke would work for me when she could find time to work for me. And there's times being that she didn't have income coming in that month. So I would help them out with bills.
Got it. So, and what was the relationship like prior to you telling your sister that you were planning to bail your nephew out of jail?
I bailed my nephew out of jail to say goodbye to his mother. I didn't do it despite my daughter, to threaten my daughter in no way. I knew getting him out was going to be a situation, but I took that chance for him to say goodbye to his mom. Now, him ending up back in jail was not my doing.
Okay. So the next question that I have for you is the kind of ugly messages that you sent to your sister about your daughter. And it might be horrifying
Yes,
to the judge to hear a father send a message to his sister saying she deserves to be beat and hung but still live, so that she can learn a lesson. Can you provide some context to the court for that? Because it's kind of a shocking comment, and that alone might, create bias. So I want the court to know what your perspective is on that.
Thank you for asking me that so I can define that statement. In no shape or form would I want anything to happen to my kids, my daughters. I just want my daughter to be held accountable for the lies and the picture that she's painted, and stop playing victim and accept accountability in her life for herself and her self-actions. And I understand what I said was not right, and I'll 100% take accountability for that. I could have rephrased my words in a different manner. But at the time, I'm hurt. I'm hurt because of her actions. I didn't raise my child this way, neither did her mother. You know, and so I said some things that I regret, and I do. But at no point ever would I want anything to happen to my kid. Period.
You separated from Brooke's mother when she was about 12?
15.
15, sir.
15.
Yeah.
And you the girls stayed with their mom temporarily, and your boy too, and then you had your son live with you. Is that right?
Yes and no. My daughter Megan lived with my ex Tracy. Brooke at that time was moving out, living with her boyfriend Caleb at the time.
At 15?
I was in Shelton, Washington, doing a job. I came back. I got custody of my son. Well, I got custody as in his mother and I came to a certain agreement that Brandon can come live with me. And ever since then, I've had Brandon since middle school all the way through high school.
Got it. And so, were your daughters resentful of the fact that you took your son through high school and Brooke had to go live with a boyfriend?
I can't speak for Brooke's emotional content at that time, but I sensed jealousy, yes, because Brandon is the youngest. And at that point, I was able to give more to Brandon because my life was different. My business was different. My means were different. I sensed that, yeah, and I tried to compensate that by giving them cars, buying them cars, getting them to things, and it just never worked out for me. It's a tough lesson. Tough lesson.
Did you invite Megan to come live with you with her child when she divorced with her husband?
No, I did not. She ended up just showing up, and I opened my house up to her and gave her a place to live.
And she lived with you?
Yes, sir. She did.
So, so it's not. What would you say to their claim that you've been emotionally abusive to the girls?
I wish I could say what I wanted to say, but I find it to be false. I find it to be false. Not every parent's perfect, nor am I. But it doesn't take away the love I have for them. I never hit them. I never abused them.
Well, that was going to be my next question because Brooke claims that you were physically abusive to her.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So, do you want to provide some context on the I'll be your demise, little child? Your lies have gone far enough. You want to provide some context for the court on that statement? That's the only statement
As in the statement, as in I will be your demise.
That whole statement. You can talk about it for the
Okay.
court, please.
What I meant by that comment was I'm tired of her lies. I'm tired of her not accepting accountability in life for her actions and the decisions in which he's making to continue having to come to me asking for help. When, as a parent, I confront her to try to change the subject. What can we do to prevent you coming to me every month and asking me for help, or every other month? And it goes for all my children, just not Brooke. When I have that parenting talk to them, they get offended because I don't open my, well, I'm just going to say, because I don't open my wallet as much as I used to. And I want them to be held accountable for their actions. And that's what that meant. I want her to be held accountable.
Did you mean it as a threat?
No, absolutely not, sir. Absolutely not.
Were you upset that your daughter...
Threatening my daughter in any shape or fashion affects my relationship with my grandchildren. I have to be nice to them to have a relationship with my grandchildren.
Have you loved on your grandchildren?
Have I? I'm sorry, sir.
Have you loved on your grandchildren?
My grand.
Yes, he has.
They're my life.
I'm actually getting emotional just looking at this. Like, this is heartbreaking. Because you can clearly see how much this is hurting this man right now. And in fairness, I can see it on her face too. She's wanting to stick to her guns, but she knows that she's wrong. And she knows that that's a good man right there. God, this is one of the hardest things about anything to do with any court at all, where families are involved, especially. Like, this is heartbreaking to watch. Like, yeah, it was funny watching her behave the way she did, but this right here is what happens. This is horrible. It's tough to watch.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I make a better grandparent than I make a better grandparent than a parent. But my grandkids are my life. I mean, I got a grandkid that was just born 2 weeks ago that I haven't seen because of this.
So,
I can't have it. You know, the people that are suffering are my grandkids. My kids aren't going to sit here and say, hey, look, he's a bad grandparent. They won't say that because I'm an awesome grandparent. They drop off their kids to my house You know, previous to her filing against me, my grandkid was at my house.
So, Mr. Johnson, why don't you pose some questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. Were you upset that your daughter married her cousin?
Yes, absolutely.
Were you worried about her having children with him?
Yes, absolutely.
I have no more questions for Mr. O'Brien, Your Honor.
Right.
May I speak?
Yes, I was just, give me a moment here as I see if there's something I have a question on. Answer that. So, so Brooke O'Brien, anything in response? You said a lot already and provide a lot of information, but anything additional?
So, I appreciate the financial assistance that my father has helped me with, but this is not what this case is about. He is simply doing his parental responsibilities like most parents do for their children in hard times. That does not excuse the
What,
behavior and
past the age of
harassment.
18, Brooke?
Mr. O'Brien,
I'm
please.
sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Please,
I'm
hold
sorry,
your
Your Honor.
peace and let Ms. O'Brien speak. So go ahead. Ms.
I've
O'Brien, go ahead.
experienced that. That does not excuse his behavior or harassment. The emphasis on money is not irrelevant to this case, nor should it affect this. This is about the behavior, which is he's using and makes himself appear to be a supportive father, which he has been financially, like he has said in his statement, and he's thrown money at a lot of things, but it's not ever his money that we wanted. It was him to take us fishing or his time. I also believe my father uses money to attempt to buy the love, but it's not really helpful. And it doesn't fix anything. He bailed out Destin out of jail 2 days after he was served, and he threatened to do so in messages prior to that, which proves he had ill intentions of him getting bailed out. And that's what I have to say about that.
Great. So, Mr. Johnson, anything on behalf of your client? Any statement?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, I'm looking at helpfully, Ms. O'Brien, you put, I forget what document it was. It was your declaration that you filed where you kind of summed up the 6 points of what you were making here. So I have to find, was there unlawful harassment committed? And I can't find that. This is a horribly failed relationship. It looks, there are statements made that are shocking by your father. But I don't find that they had the intent nor any more than what we call fighting words under the law. And the more recent events is what we're dealing with. Sounds like with the declaration from your mom and the divorce that occurred about 12 years ago, or at least you moved out of the purvey of your father's house about 12 years ago, is what I understand. And your mom's statement that supports you, that your father was not, was abusive, but I don't have any substantial corroboration of that. So I'm not making any findings there. I'm glad to hear that you're not afraid of your father, but these orders have to be based on the law. It's not whether your father is doing something wrong or doing something right, or how he talks to people right or wrong. That's not for the court to issue an order on. And I don't find on all of the information here that there's been unlawful harassment as defined by the law. So therefore the court cannot issue an order. However, it's obvious that folks don't want to have contact with each other. So you're going to have to make those decisions for yourself and of course for your children. But I don't have the basis of evidence here to issue this order. So that's the end of the hearing.
May I speak?
And this order of denial will be in the court file for all parties to access.
Okay, may I
So-
speak to Mr. O'Brien?
No, I'm not going to take court time to do that. So we'll do that on
Okay.
your own if you feel so inclined.
I don't. I just
But,
wanted to get a wham bam deal.
All
Just
right,
don't
we're going to
communicate.
move on. We're going to move
Okay,
on
thank
because I have
you.
2 other hearings.
Your-
So
Your Honor, I would just
everyone can be
to contact me.
on their
if-
way. Pardon, Mr.
I would
Johnson?
invite her to contact me if she wants. I can. She has my cell phone number. So
All right, that's one avenue.
thank you, Your
Right.
Honor. Appreciate
Be
it.
on your
That was an emotional fucking roller coaster right there. I thought maybe at the end there she was just kind of getting to the point of like, okay, I fucked up here, but evidently not. She just couldn't give it up, could she? Clearly there was issues there. The man said it himself. He's a better grandparent than he ever was a parent. And I've seen that countless times over. That's life. That's what happens. But the man's done his best from what we see here. Obviously you don't see everything, but I think it's very evident from her behavior that this is probably more a her thing than a him thing. Heartbreaking to see, though. This is absolutely heartbreaking to see. You could clearly see, she did start to get upset, and when she said it's not about the money, it was about maybe take us fishing every once in a while. And I get it. It's probably a sore spot for her, but this isn't the way to do it. Weaponizing the courts. And like, look here, she's wasted an hour of time where there's people literally sitting in court right now waiting to get orders that they seriously need. I hope that they can reconcile at some point. I hope that maybe things will work out and he'll get to see his lovely grandkids and everything. Stranger things have happened. God, the emotions. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's really late here. It's like 9 p.m. I've been in the office since about 7 o'clock this morning, so I am cream crackered and I'm going home to my bed. Sláinte, go me Mahagad.
Now in session, Judge Sam Myers presiding.
You can be seated. So this is the anti-harassment calendar. And before we get started, I'm going to take attendance, find out who's here. First of all, is Joanna McGowan either in here or on the Zoom call? Yeah, could you come on the Zoom call, ma'am? Can you do a reissue, please? You're muted, ma'am. I'm going to need you to unmute.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hi there. So we've been contacted by the petitioner in this case, and she's unable to make it here today. So for one time, we're going to reissue the temporary, ma'am, your eyes on me, please. Thank you. And we're going to reissue the temporary order. We'll reconvene in 2 weeks and we'll take this matter up at that time.
Okay, Your Honor.
And then I'm going to hang on just a second. I'm going to give you a date. Wait just a minute, please. It can be May 19th. At 9 a.m. And the temporary order was entered in this is going to be reissued. So there's a temporary still in place. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're free to go.
Thank you.
And then, Ms. Chicas, you're not
Yes.
moving there, Chicas?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
And so then, so Ms. Anderson, before we start, and then actually I should back up a little bit further. The way the cases go is I swear in the petitioner, I'll hear from the petitioner, and I'll swear in the respondent, let the respondent responds. I may have questions for either or both parties. And we'll go from there. Over the course of these hearings, which are usually, and I expect these to be too, quite emotional, you're going to hear things you don't like. You're going to hear things you disagree with. I don't want anybody talking over the other person. Don't interrupt the other person. Don't interrupt me. And I want all comments directed to me. Don't speak at the other individual. It was less of a problem that we're on Zoom, but don't speak at the other individual. Again, I want all comments directed towards me. And so, Ms. Anderson, I'm going to start with you. Could you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. So kind of before you tell me why you need an order against Ms. Chica, it's kind of confusing to me how these parties are related somehow. So maybe you could start by explaining that.
Well, she thinks that I intervened in her marriage, and so she stalked my life and is now married.
Okay, so hang on just a second here. So, I mean, who is she married to relative, or who are you married?
She is married to my kid's dad, who I was with for.
Okay, so hang on, just to stop there. So she's married to the father of your child.
Both of my kids.
Okay, to both kids. Okay. And so, okay, continue on. Is there any other relationship between the two of you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Besides
So, go ahead.
Besides that, no.
Okay. So how is it you need an order? And my understanding is also she already has an order restraining you out of Superior Court. Is that correct?
Well, that was after she got served with the paperwork that I filed with the district court.
So, and my understanding is from pleadings, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you had asked for an order against her in Superior Court, but that was denied. Is that true or not true?
It was, yes, that's true. And I didn't.
Okay, so hang on just a second. I'm going to stop you right there then. And so what, if anything, has changed from the time that order was denied and now, if anything?
Well, because I didn't realize, because I haven't dealt with the court. And so I didn't turn in a lot of evidence. And now I am going to respond back to the Superior Court because I have a lot to respond back to. And
Okay. So, but hang on just a second. I'm going to stop you again. You can't respond back to a Superior Court proceeding here. That all needs to be handled in Superior Court.
Yes, no, I know. And that's what I'm doing. Yes, that's being handled.
When is that set for hearing?
Yes, that is on the 12th.
Of May. So that's next week. Is that a week from today?
Yes. And I am responding back to it.
Okay. What time is that hearing set for?
Let me look. I have the paperwork right here. Let me. That is at 9 a.m. on May 13th, Tuesday.
Okay. That'd be a Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay, so Ms. Chicas, if you could raise your right hand here too, please, before I get into, do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, I mean, I guess, well, I mean, you have a no contact order against her. She wants a no contact order against you. You all kind of want the same thing. I guess, what's your opposition to this?
My opposition is not to have something against me when I've done nothing and she has nonstop harassed me, slandered me.
Well, you did. I mean, hang on just a second. Done nothing is not completely accurate. You admitted to sending notes threatening to have Russia charmed.
I do admit to sending that message. I've never contacted her prior to that or after that. And the reason why I did that, I have explained to the courts in her family case court with my husband and their kids, and also with the one with her that I have against her. I explained she reached out and stalked my son's dad and I was letting her know to leave him
No,
alone. And I talked.
Don't lie.
Remember,
Can I continue? And I
Say-
talked out my ass. And I, Your Honor, I did not mean that, and I cannot.
this is a real disadvantage to Zoom because no one listens to me. So Ms. Chicas, you need to stop. You can unmute. We muted you. Ms. Anderson, you need to stop too and unmute yourself. You remember what I said at the beginning about not interrupting the other party? So here's what's going to happen here today, Ms. Anderson and Ms. Chicas. Problems arise when two courts are looking at the same issues and same parties from two different points of view. And so this thing has already been set for hearing in Superior Court. There's already an order in place. We're just going to transfer this thing over to Superior Court on May 13th at, what time did you say that was, ma'am?
It's at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. And then just
On May
everything can be
13th.
hashed out there.
Okay,
'Cause
cool.
I don't want to do something here and then you're going to go to Superior Court and say, well, that district court judge did this, and then they're not going to be completely sure about it. And that's just going to make a whole lot of confusion for everybody.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
Ms. Anderson, Ms. Chicas?
that does.
And then, is there an order in this case? Or
There is.
just, yeah, can just,
Yeah, there is.
Okay. we'll do the temporary.
It would be a reissue.
Do you need to do that?
I would need to. do
Okay, you
all
can do that after.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is going to get transferred to Superior Court. It'll get sent over there, and then all of your issues can be resolved by one judge in one place.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank
Does that
you.
make, you get that, Ms. Chicas? Okay. Okay, you're muted. Do you need to unmute?
Yes, Your Honor, I did. Thank you.
Okay, so you both need to attend next Tuesday.
I was like, I can.
What's that?
I can.
Okay, and then, and you are Ms. Eggers?
Yes.
Could you raise your right hand, please? And do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. And Mr. Breznovich, I'm going to hear from her. I may hear from him, and then I'll have some questions for you. And so, Ms. Eggers, how is it you need an order against Mr. Breznovich? But first of all, are you guys next door neighbors?
Yes.
Got it. Go ahead.
So we have we rent and we have the main house and he actually.
Mr. Breznovich, can you hear this?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to speak a little bit louder. Please.
So we have the main house and he has like a little AUD, kind of like they turned a garage into a studio apartment and everything.
Okay.
Start off last summer, there was noise complaints and everything, and he was just blaring like gun shooting sounds.
Who was making the noise and who was complaining about it?
So we didn't file like an actual complaint because it lasted a few
So
days.
he was making the noise and you were
Yes.
complaining about it. Okay,
And
continue
then,
on.
so it's just like, it started off with just that, so we didn't actually make a complaint because it stopped within a few days and everything. But over the last few months, recently, in April, we had a lot of issues where he would ride his bike throughout our yard, and then he ended up tearing up a whole bunch of our flowers in our flower bed. And then he was pretty much vandalizing our vehicles with throwing food and everything else on all of our vehicles in our driveway and everything. And then
Well, I read that. And I think I saw in one of the videos.
it's all on videos and all on
Yeah,
pictures.
and what sort of food was he throwing there?
So there was a whole bunch of like nuts and everything, and then it looked like globs of either bacon grease or something, but it's grease or oil. And it got all over 3 of our cars in our driveway.
Got it.
And it's stained our cars.
How long ago?
This all happened within this last month of April.
Okay.
And I sent videos and pictures of everything.
No, I saw.
There's like 5, and it happened like back to back to back.
Okay. So, Mr., I don't have any questions for you, Mr. Grant, right now. Basically, everything I've heard is fairly consistent with what's in the file. Mr. Breznovich, could you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down. And then I'll hear from you.
Okay. So I do live in that ADU on the property. We are both renters. In front of my ADU, I have a sidewalk and a driveway. That is my access. In these videos that you see, these pictures you see, you'll see their parking situation there where they leave a void up against the house. And they leapfrog that white car by driving across my sidewalk on my driveway and on multiple occasions kick my garbages to the ground to give themselves access. Now, I'm a disabled veteran. I just got a service dog. I usually listen to meditative music and do a lot of volunteer work. I'm not involved in just hanging out with them, dealing with them. They're constantly on that back patio right outside my front window, smoking, joking, drinking, blasting music. A significant chunk of most days. They've got extra tenants in that house. It's not just them. They have an elderly couple with them that has hard of hearing. They're always bickering and making noise. They also have a dog. Every time I step out of my house, their dog barks at me. That messes with my PTSD. I am in mental health recovery. I have been for the last 6 years. I'm going to counseling. I go to group therapies. I assist widows on farms. I work with church groups and organizations. I helped the Girl Scouts last weekend. These accusations they have are gross, disgusting, and I think they're being a bunch of divas. Your Honor.
What about it looked to me like in one of those videos, there was, it was kind of nighttime, but it looked like somebody was throwing something on the car. Was that you?
That was me.
Okay, did you throw something on their car?
A can of bacon grease.
Why would you do something like that?
Because they're driving on my sidewalk for months. They didn't show you any video of that. That's interesting.
Well, that's not a...
They get their spot of land, I get my spot of land. They don't get to bully me in numbers.
Okay.
It's discrimination against the disabled veteran, Your Honor. I'm by myself over there. Nobody comes over. Nobody wants to visit. They hate seeing my place and that my little tiny patio is right up against their back patio. They got 340 degrees of the property. I got 20. They can be anywhere else, but they're always right there outside my front window, less than 20 feet away, smoking, joking, drinking, throwing beer bottles in buckets. It's not their kid I'm yelling at. I told them when I first move in that I want nothing to do with them. I'm dealing with my own stuff, that I have mental health issues. I want nothing to do with them or their kids. And then they got their kid yelling at me, hi neighbor, hi neighbor, hi neighbor, demanding it. Disrespectful. And I don't want to yell back. She don't hear me. And I don't want to raise my voice. So I keep walking. I've been ignoring them for the last 2 years. I want nothing to do with them, honestly. I'm home as little as possible.
Okay. What's the parking situation? Explain that to me.
So we were having off schedules. And so we have 4 people in our household that have vehicles. Everybody is on the lease.
Okay.
So the 2 additional, which is my mom and her boyfriend, they're on the lease.
Yeah, but he's saying that I'm not concerned about that. Even
So,
if they aren't.
Pretty much, I'm a great driver. So I would occasionally use the portion to get out, sometimes get back in. I wouldn't tear up the gravel. I wouldn't park there or anything. I would use it for 3 to 5 seconds to get back in the spot. And then that was it. There was no damage to the sidewalk or gravel or anything else because it's a sidewalk. It's concrete. But there was no damage, no nothing. I would use it for 3 to 5 seconds and get back in because we have wonky schedules.
Okay.
Also,
I mean, is there a way to park either in the street or, I mean, clearly that bothers him.
I talked to the realty company and we're making a gravel pit in our front yard, but me driving 3 seconds on concrete and gravel for him to vandalize our property.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not justifying. I'm going to come back to him on that. It's inappropriate for him to do that in any circumstances.
But yeah,
but my point is, you know, you can respect his right of way and gravel area and all of that sort of stuff.
Yes.
And so, yeah, well, it's only 3 seconds, but you know, to some people, 3 seconds is a big deal.
So we contacted the realty company, which they knew that we were driving on it anyways. And they gave us the okay because they had to talk to the actual owner, and we're able to now make
But
a
when-
gravel pit.
But if it's okay, but if it's his right now, even though, I mean,
We haven't ever
let's say, for
since
example, you
the,
can't, you know, the owner might not necessarily, if it's his right away, his portion of the thing, you know, the owner can't, like if you're an apartment, for example, and some renter is, it's one apartment, you know, and going into the other person's apartment. You know, and well, the owner said it was okay. Well, the owner can't do that. That's that person's a property. He has a right to that particular area. The same might be true for this parking situation where that's his, and for whatever reason, he doesn't want you there. You know, the owner can't give you permission, say something, you know, over, well, he's paying rent, that he gets to decide that. See what I mean? You following my example?
Yeah.
So my question to you is, can you conduct your parking activity out there in a way that avoids that?
we
It may
have-
be a little bit inconvenient for you, but I know it's clear to me that the way you're doing that makes it convenient for you. But go ahead, you were going to say something.
I was like, we have now, ever since the videos that I sent back to back, because I
Right.
contacted the realty company after that. And ever since that, we haven't moved the cars whatsoever.
And then with regard to, is it your child?
So I
How
have,
many children do
we
you
have
have?
a 7-year-old,
Okay,
but every house on that block
Okay.
has about an 8-year-old and
Okay.
under
but
with
I'm
multiple
not,
kids.
I'm not worried about other people on the block. I'm only worried about the only people in front of me are you and him. And so he said that, you know, he thinks, for right or for wrong, and I'll come back to him in a minute, that one of your children is bugging him, and, you know, you could say, hi neighbor, might seem friendly, but I could see where that can be kind of done where you're trying to egg someone on, or do you have a response to that? How old are your children? You said
7 years
7?
old.
Okay. All
And
right.
she's friendly.
Okay.
They,
Sure. but
he,
Could you maybe talk to your child? Think, well, maybe Mr. Bresnovich doesn't appreciate that, so maybe you could just leave him alone?
okay, well, also in the beginning, he was friendly. He would
Okay.
let her go pet his dog and everything else.
All right.
But yes, I
Okay.
can talk to her.
All right. So, Mr. Bresnovich, I'm going to come back to you. I'm assuming you were hearing all that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And so that hopefully they can respect, you know, your portion of the parking area. And I get all that. But at the same time, you know, and I appreciate, you know, thank you for, you said you were a veteran, you know, thank you for your service, and I appreciate all that. I know clearly you're going through a difficult time. I get that too. But you just can't throw bacon grease on people's cars. You just can't do that. You must understand that, don't you?
I do understand. Can you imagine what it took for me to get to that point? How much of a
Well,
jerk you have to be for someone to get to that point? I didn't wake up one day and think, this is what I'm gonna do with my day.
no, but I don't suspect that, but you know, that's just, that's not a justification. I can't look at that and say, well, yeah, he was aggravated, so I can understand that. But I mean, it's again, throwing, you know, in the manner that you did, and they say that stained the car, and I'm not sure whether it did or it didn't, but you know, that you just can't do that.
I don't want to do it again.
Okay. So what's going to happen today is based on what's presented.
Your Honor, more
I am-
importantly, if I may,
Go ahead.
those allegations with their kid and talking to the neighbors, that's some seriously defamatory behavior. She should be required to apologize for that. I want nothing to do with any of their kids. I wish them healthy, long, joyful
Okay.
life.
Okay, well, good. And I don't, okay. I appreciate what you said. But what's going to happen here today is I'm going to enter orders, 2 orders that basically just says you're just not to contact them. And that's it. And so hopefully that'll just be a bright line, because I perceive, you know, going on their property and, you know, and the flowers, and frankly, throwing the, you know, the main concern is throwing grease or something on their car. That's, I consider all that leads to the point where orders are going to be entered, but there's not going to be a distance restriction. There's not going to be any sort of anything like that. It's just stay off their property and and just don't contact with them, and that's it.
What about that back patio where they're within 20 feet of my house smoking and joking? Can we do something about that? We got Washington.
Well, no,
State
well,
law.
first of all, they're the ones who brought the order.
Yeah.
And, you know, in terms of they're on their own patio within your, again, there's not a distance restriction. You can be you can be on your property, there can be on hers. You just can't you can't go on to theirs. And, you know, and if I'm not making any ruling on that. If you feel that's harassing, you can ask for your own order. But I don't know. And again, I'm not out there watching it. They're hearing this. Maybe, hopefully they can conduct themselves and I don't know what's going on out there, but maybe they're mindful of that. Maybe they can take a look at how they conduct themselves on their patio. But no, there's nothing, that's not really in front of me right now.
What about the security camera that tracks me as I come in and out of my house?
Well, I can see the security camera that I've seen. You know,
Yeah,
again, they're
yeah.
not in front of me on all of that. The security camera that I've seen what was presented to me was on their driveway, you know, looking at their trucks. You know, if you feel like they're cyber stalking you or stalking you in some manner, you're free to go get your own order, but you're going to have to show all that. And but for today, the only thing in front of me now is their order asking for you to not contact them. And based on what I've heard, both from you and from them, I'm gonna grant them. But again, no distance restriction, just stay on your property, stay off of theirs, and don't have any contact with them. And the order will be in place for 1 year.
No problem.
I hope not. And I hope that now that everybody's kind of on the same page, you can get along. You do have to live next to each other, and life would be a lot easier if you could all of you could conduct yourselves in a manner that doesn't aggravate your neighbor, both sides. But given what's been alleged, I am gonna, again, they're not, the parameters of the order is just stay off your property. And he's to stay off your property. He's not to contact you.
Welcome back to another video. The Irish Demon here. And now I've got a video from somebody who is hands down one of my favorite court-related YouTubers and one of the most hardworking ones out there, and that is Old Squishy Gardener. Absolutely fantastic. Always finds really interesting stuff and provides really, really good commentary, but it's more so written commentary on the screen. So if that's more your jam and you don't like the interjections, I'll put a link down below to OSG's channel. OSG has thousands of videos on there for you to check out. Really, really interesting, juicy stuff. Sorry, the birds are going nuts here at the moment. Really, really interesting stuff. And I highly recommend if you're just getting into the court stuff or if it's something that you haven't seen before, although I think if you're into court stuff, you've probably seen OSG stuff. The link will be down below. Well worth checking out. Fantastic channel. But this one is, I haven't actually seen all of this. It's about a Karen and her mail lady. And I think it's a restraining order. So this should be very interesting. Let's check this one out.
Do you have a copy of that Ring video that you can show me?
Yes, I do.
online?
Yes, I do.
This is going to be good. This is going to be good. I haven't seen this yet. So
we are here in the matter of Elisa Moody and Anizia Brown, case number 25-03163PH. This hearing is being recorded on Zoom and live streamed on YouTube.
And this matter comes before the court on two matters today. The first is a motion by the respondent, Ms. Brown, to terminate this personal protective order. And second, there is a claim by petitioner, Ms. Moody, that Ms. Brown violated the protective order. I'll consider the motion to terminate the order first. And with that, the burden is on you, Ms. Moody, to explain why you got the protective order in the first place. I can ask you some questions, and Ms. Brown can also ask you questions, and then both of you can make statements under oath, and I can make a ruling. So as an initial matter then, Ms. Moody, if you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be very good? And Ms. Moody, would you explain to me as straightforward as you can. Why did you get a protective order in this matter?
Back in 2020, my son's dad, I guess, started dating Anazia, and from that point on, I started receiving harassing phone calls and text messages. It proceeded on for years. The harassing and constantly calling, sending explicit photos of my son, dad to my mother, my grandmother, my friends. It just wouldn't stop.
I was muted here and there. I'm guessing that this has got nothing to do with missing packages somehow. Oh, well, I mean, there seems to be some kind of packages involved, but not the kind of one you usually get in your mailbox. Well, I suppose it depends on what you're into. But already I can see, like, you know, this is Judge Rossi. Judge Rossi's awesome. I love Judge Rossi. He's so deadpan. Beautifully deadpan, though. You know, that he's just there to get the facts and that's it. The lady in the bottom, straight away, she's just, you can just tell from her attitude, the way she's carrying on, the laughing and all that stuff. So, OSG said there, Miss Brown seems to think sending sexy pics to Granny is funny. It's not funny. Like, that's horrifying. But I just didn't expect it. I did not expect this.
Okay, and let's see here. And you said also calling your job with false accusations. What's that about?
Oh, I said, okay, so once I noticed that Anazia had moved on my route, to protect myself and my job, I filed the personal protection order, and this is actually the second one that I have filed. The first one in 21 got denied. So just to protect myself from, you know, any unnecessary drama, I just wanted to avoid all of that. Yeah.
Okay. And that's because you said during some of these telephone conversations, she stated she would physically hurt you.
Yes, we had a few phone conversations that led to heated arguments and threats of fighting and violence.
When was the most recent conversation like that you can recall?
The last one was in the summer of 24. I can't think of the exact month, but I know it was in the summertime. I was leaving work and I got a call from an unknown number again, stating not to call my son, dad.
Shut the door.
Okay, and you're going to have to mute Miss Brown, or I'll have to mute
I'm
you. 'Cause I'm getting,
sorry.
extra noise. I get it. All right. So, so summer of 2024, and what did she threaten to do physically?
Just fight.
Okay. And how about before that? When was the last time before summer 2024? Because in summer 2024 was, well, coming up on a year ago. How about prior to that in terms of incidents of harassment there?
I know it was a few times in 24. Like I said, it's been going on for 5 years.
Okay. And you also mentioned some threats through social media. What did those look like?
I had a Facebook page. I deactivated the Facebook page. I was getting multiple messages from a fake account that she created of my son, dad. And that's the same account that was used to, you know, harass my family members and friends also.
You can tell from her face that that's true. I'm sorry, like, you know, I'm not the judge. I don't have anything to answer for here, but you can kind of tell from her face that it's true. It's that kind of like, you know, this thing happened. She's gonna like, fuck, she mentioned it. You know what I mean? Tell me if I'm wrong. Actually, just while I have you real quick, while this is paused, just continuing on from something I asked in an earlier video, because I'm just trying to run some numbers and figure things out right now. Did you get notified for this video? Did you see it pop up on recommended, or did you search for like Karen's in Court or Irish Demon or any of those things and then found it that way? I'd just be really interested to see where the traffic is coming from, because it's just really confusing at the minute. Something ain't 100% right. So let me know, did you get a notification for it? If you didn't, or if you're not subscribed, do subscribe and hit the notification bell, and maybe let me know on the next video. I'd really appreciate it. Even if I don't ask on the next video, if you just let me know in the comments any videos you watch and go, yeah, I got notified, I'd really appreciate that, guys.
Okay, so your allegation is that she made a call to you from you know, an unknown number and also created this Facebook page. So okay, do you have any questions, Ms. Brown, to direct to Ms. Moody? And you'll have to unmute if you do have any questions.
I don't have any questions, but I have some stuff to say.
Well, let me swear you in and hear your side of the story if you'd raise your right hand.
Oh,
You
is she?
solemnly
Oh, yes,
swear or
she
affirm that
does.
Your
I can't
testimony
wait.
today will be the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Brown.
I'm gonna start off by saying this lady is lying on me. Like, seriously, I have not said nothing to her. In 17 or something, we had a little incident. I went through my child's father phone, and she's always bringing me up. So I text her from the phone, and I said, can you please stop bringing me up? Like, why do you and his other baby mama always bring me up? So we left it at that. We never had no incident. I never knew this lady real name.
Hold on. You might have to help me here now, guys, because this is all new territory to me. So who's baby mama? I'm really confused. Right, so we got man, let's call him Jim, right? So Jim had some kind of interaction with both of these ladies at one time or another. Which one, A, is the current lady with whom he's having interaction, if either of them? And who's the other baby mama? I'm very confused. There's a lot of babies and babies mamas and whatever.
She's always bringing me up. So I text her from the phone and I said, can you please stop bringing me up? Like, why do you and his other baby mama always bring me up?
Why do you, that being Miss Moody, and his other baby mama? So he's got another baby mama. So assuming he's with Miss Brown because she has access to his phone. Okay, we're getting there. Miss Brown, current partner of Jimmy, or whatever we call them. Miss Moody is a baby mama, it seems, because she referred to an other baby mama. Right, so here's the thing. If this dude is still texting his two baby mamas and your name keeps coming up from both individual baby mamas, maybe, and based on your behavior, I think it could be the case, maybe it's you.
So we left it at that. We never had no incident. I never knew this lady real name, never knew where she lived, never caught up to her job. I don't know her.
Why would you?
Literally, like, I don't know what made her do this, right? And then I just feel like if I've been messing with her for that long, why is she just now doing it? If I'm so crazy and she's so scared of me and this has been going on for so long, this should have been in play. She never tried to pin no PPO order out on me a couple of years ago and it got denied. This lady is full of crap. Literally, because I haven't said nothing to her. Like, I don't have no problem with her.
All right, so you're denying that you ever called her from an unknown number and threatened to hurt her.
I am denying that.
And what about the Facebook posts on a Facebook account that would have pictures or things of that nature?
No, I never wrote her on Facebook. Like I said, the only time that I text her was from my child's father phone and said, can you stop mentioning me? Because she was sending pictures of me saying I got caught stealing from the store. And this lady always mentioning me. I go through his phone. She's always talking about me. And it's like, she knows so much about me. I know nothing about her. I know nothing about her. This lady know everything about me, right? When she know my name, I didn't even know her name for real. Like, I don't know her. I didn't know her name was illegal. How do
you say this lady's name? Anal size Brown. I don't have my glasses on, so help me out there phonetically. It's nice. It looks like a nice name. It's nice the way it's written.
Lisa, I thought her name was Lisa. Like, and that's just from what he told me. She is full of crap. If I was being mean or I was bullying her, I feel like she should have been did this PPO order. We never had no conversations on the phone arguing. Like, where's the proof?
All right. Well, she also cites an incident here, which she claims is a violation. This was more recent, April 17th of 25. I don't know. Have you seen a copy of that motion to show cause?
No.
Well, she says that
Mason.
Yeah, what it says here, I'll read it aloud, is that today on 4/17/2025, I was approaching my park part to deliver to the apartments that Anastasia
Yes.
resides at. Once I parked, Anastasia exits a vehicle that I parked behind and stares at me while jumping at me in a threatening
Oh my
manner.
God. Okay,
Okay.
so on this day, I was coming out my house.
I did the mute thing again. Wait a second. What did he say her name was? Anasia. That is Anasia. Anastasia? There's no L in there. So whoops. That's my bad. Hold on.
While jumping at
Hold on, I gotta hear that part again.
25, I was approaching my park part
Weave
to
cam.
deliver to the apartments that Anastasia
Yes.
resides at.
Anastasia, that's nice.
Once I parked, Anastasia exits a vehicle that I parked behind and stares at me while jumping at me in a threatening
Oh my
manner.
God. Okay,
Okay.
so on this day, I was coming out my house and she was delivering the mail. I'm finna shut my door. This lady asked me, and I got it on my Ring camera and everything, so we can play this game.
That's
She
not
asked me,
that's
please.
not
Go ahead,
no,
related.
hang on,
because
I'll give
Elisa,
you-
you asked me, you said,
Miss-
Anasia, can we talk? I said, I don't want to talk to you. I said, so I can get in trouble, Elisa. I'm gonna show my Ring camera too because you funny. So she walks up to me and she said, Anasia, as I'm walking up to the door, she said, can we talk? I said, yeah. I said, but I don't want to get in trouble talking to you.
Yep.
She says, I don't have no problem with you. You even told me you were going to drop this. So did you or did you not say that, Elisa? Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
You
Elisa.
even called the police on me and told them that I'm messing with you. And,
Yeah,
and
she
what did they
called
tell
them.
you? This is my house. At the end of the day, you full of crap and you wrong. For real,
All
for
right.
real.
You
Like, all of
said
this
you
is
have
on
a
camera.
do you have a copy of that Ring video that you can show me?
Yes, I do.
online?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, I do.
Can we
And
see
I'm
it?
going to make sure I give that to y'all because she's playing a dirty game. She's trying to get me in trouble. You stopped me. And then
Yes,
you're going
Alright.
to make a
we are.
report?
Wicked.
All right. Well, let me
My
hear what
sister was
Miss.
even here. She's a witness. Like this lady, I'm pinning one out on her. That's what I need to do. For real, man.
All right.
Now,
Well,
it's not funny. Stop laughing. I'm not playing.
yeah. No, what I think I need to do here is I'm going to need to take additional testimony about the violation. But let me
Yes,
hear
you are.
from Miss Moody at this time.
Ooh,
know
she
what-
got
Stop
mad.
me. What?
Version of what happened. Go ahead,
Okay,
Miss Moody.
so the incident on 4/17 was the day after Anasia had
That's a nice name. That's a
served
really
me
pretty name.
these court papers to attend this hearing. The day that she is speaking of is another day that I was walking down the street, maybe about a week after the 17th of April from that incident you're speaking of. And I was delivering the mail and we was basically walking towards each other. And I was just like, Anasia, what's the problem? We had a whole conversation about the issue. She told me the reason that she did all of the constantly calling and harassing and things were because my son dad was cheating on her. And like I told her then, I said, I have nothing to do with that.
OSG, I was going to say the exact same thing. Is that a shocker for anybody? This guy's got baby mommies and baby mamas. Baby mamas? Is that what that is? Hold on. Yes, baby mamas everywhere. And they're all, he's talking to all of them and about you.
Don't have drama issues with anyone.
No.
I don't deal with my son dad. I haven't dealt with him since I was pregnant with my son, and my son is about to be 15 years old next month. She brought up the issue about when I had text my son dad. This was maybe in 2023. I had text my son dad a picture of her, asking was that her that was all over Facebook. That was when I did have a Facebook page, and he said yeah or whatever. And I was like, well, apparently he was like, what is that? I said, apparently she got caught stealing from a store. But I never knew about Anasia until I started getting the threatening phone calls and messages. I don't have a number to contact her to ever call her. I never knew about the girl till she started calling me from getting my number out of my son dad's phone.
All right. Well, I think what we're going to have to do here is, I've heard enough testimony at this point, to keep a protective order in place. I mean, I think that, there clearly are, some longstanding confrontations between the two of you, and you're going to have to run into each other because Miss Moody's got the mail route that takes her past where you're living, Miss Brown. So you're gonna, inevitably kind of be in the same circle, possibly cross some paths with each other. And I do find that there is justification to keep a protective order in place based on those past confrontations that the two of you have had. So I'm going to leave it in place at this time, and I'll hold a separate hearing on the alleged violation of the protective order. Ms. Brown, I need to swear you in, or I already swore you in, I think, because did I swear you in when you spoke, Ms. Brown? I don't think so.
Yes.
I already did swear you in. Let me advise you then of your rights under the protective order to the hearing, in that if I find that you violated the protective order, I could sentence you to up to 93 days in the county jail and or a $400 fine. If you deny that
it's
true,
very
and
serious.
It sounds like you do deny that this incident happened, then you're entitled to a hearing. During that hearing, you're entitled to be represented by an attorney. I'll appoint an attorney if you'd like to be represented by an attorney, but you can't afford to hire one of your own. Or, of course, if you'd like, you can go out and hire an attorney of your choice to represent you at the hearing. Miss Moody will be represented by the county prosecutor, and during that hearing, I would decide whether or not my protective order had been violated, and if so, what punishment, if any, that I would give you, Miss Brown. So,
Okay, so can I say one more thing before this ends?
Yes.
Yeah, and but I take it you want to enter a not guilty plea on the violation first and foremost.
Yes, not guilty. For one, she said that she was gonna drop this. About that violation,
Doesn't
I
matter
know
if
what
she
she's
said that.
talking about now. Me, I was riding past, I seen her,
Well,
and I
let's
told
not-
my cousin to serve her. What else I supposed to do?
Yeah, let's not talk too much about it because
No,
it'll be
do.
the subject of a future
Do it.
hearing, and I don't want you to say something without talking to a lawyer that might get you in trouble.
No, I
because
don't
once
really.
it's
No, obviously, jokes aside, don't say shit.
on the record, it's like a bell, you can't unring it. What else did you have another question for me, Miss Brown? And I will get back to you, Miss Moody. after that.
No, I would like for me to put one out on her now.
Well, and if you think there are incidents that would support that, then you're free to file one as well, and I'll.
But if there's already one against you and you're saying that, but hold on, if there's already one against you, it kind of in a way protects you anyway, right? To some extent, not in the same way, but like you shouldn't be contacting her anyway. She's not supposed to contact you instigating it, for fear of losing her own one. This isn't a tool to fight baby mama versus baby mama to get at each other. This is a very serious thing. It could land people up in jail. It makes life difficult for people, frankly, even if the person is a dickhead. It makes it difficult for them. And it takes up a lot of very valuable court time and police time and everything else. So it's not a weapon that can just be thrown around against each other. Like, it's a silliness. I used to see this all the time in court. Sorry, I meant to put
I also wanted to say this. That day that I did have a conversation with Anazia, I let her know, I understand what you're going through with our son's father. I don't want to have to do this. But like I said, the reason I put it in place is to protect my job. I don't like drama. I just want to peacefully deliver my mail and go home. That's my
How long
main
have you
thing.
worked for the post office, Miss Moody?
3 years.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a good job, and no one would want to lose that because of a kind of
Exactly.
unrelated argument that you have with and it could obviously happen with someone along your route. So I understand the concern,
But I'm not gonna call up to her job. I don't care about her that
Then
much to do
don't.
so.
Yeah, no, and that's the other thing is, protective orders, they're civil. It's not a criminal conviction or anything like that. It's just a civil case that basically says you can't confront her. She is going to have to come by your place to drop off the mail.
Right, and I'm gonna live here for a couple of years, so it's just gonna keep being PPO orders, like.
Yeah, no, well, the thing is if nothing else happens until this one expires, and this one, let me take a look at when
Was it a year or
When
2 year
it's
one?
But I'm
Yes.
not even waiting for it to get expired because I haven't done nothing to her. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
drop this. I need protection of my home. I once owned a firearm. I'm trying to keep me and my family safe. I live by myself. She's messing with me. She know that. I'm not trying to hurt her. When she delivered the mail, I stay in my house. Like, I
Yep.
can't even protect me and my kids because of this mess. Like, serious. We live in a hood. Like, at the end of the day, I want to be able to protect me and my kids. But I got to deal with this
OSG.
nonsense.
Yep.
Your Honor, I was saying, hold on. Can you mute your phone, Anazia, please? Judge, are you there?
Oh, he already ended it. That's what she was talking about. Oh, yeah, there's a bit of a thing between them. Somebody told me.
It looks like he's frozen. Hopefully he'll
Okay.
come back on here in just a second. Just hold on for a
There's a
moment.
bit of something between the girls here, I think.
Take that outside.
Mom, I'm doing it like this, Mom, because Kelly's calling.
I thought maybe he would text me real quick if he's having trouble. So give it just a couple more minutes, okay? I'll try to reach out to him.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Still on there?
Yeah, we almost done. I'm waiting for the judge to come back.
What judge, sir?
I'll tell you about it when we get off the phone.
I still on there, Mom?
Yeah. Yes. Mark, go upstairs to keep your son safe.
You're a good judge.
He's saying cool, but
Right.
what I'm lying for what? I can look at her. Right. They gonna have you on YouTube. They said this might be on YouTube.
Yep.
He said he's coming back, so hopefully just a minute, okay?
Alrighty.
Okay. All right. Again, thank you so much, OSG, for sharing that one out. That was awesome. I love that. It was like, all is that, we're going to be on YouTube. We're going to be on YouTube. It's like, judge is coming back. Okay, all demure. I mean, come on, man. Yeah, look, these PPOs are messy, right? They are incredibly important for a lot of people. And I've seen them literally allow people to have a normal life, okay? They have their place. They're very, very important. Like, even in this scenario, you know, is it really necessary? Probably not. Like, they probably just needed telling. You just fucking stay away from her, deliver her mail, and just leave it. Like, just leave it. Be adults. Just move on. Who gives a shit if she's talking about you to your baby, daddy's baby, mama's baby, daddy, or whatever? Nobody cares. Like, who cares? Just get over it. But then I've seen cases where somebody seriously needs that protection. Now, I don't know about other jurisdictions. In Western Australia, anyway, you could also get what was called a CBO, which was a conduct behavior order. So it wasn't something that was necessarily filed with the court, but it was a contract between, you know, the applicant and the respondent to say, okay, look, we'll make an agreement that I will stay away from you and you will stay away from me. And then if that contract is broken or breached, you would then be able to come back to court and it would kind of solidify your case about, you know, getting a protective order. They were not easy to get in Australia, I can tell you that much. And I saw some come in where I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, like definitely that person needs an order. And then they didn't get it, you know? So it just depends. And obviously these are people who are way, way, way more highly trained than I could ever be. So they know what to look for. But yeah, there is times where I was like, God damn, fucking, I threw a cabbage at her face. Like, clearly she needs a PPO. But anyway, neither here nor there. Thank you so much for joining me, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, catch OSG's link down in the description section. Go over there, give him some love, tell him I sent you, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Slán Chua, go with me, Lamagad. So over the past 5 years, I've watched thousands of hours of court, mostly in person when I was working in one. But over the past few months, I've been watching a lot of it here online. You see a lot of really interesting characters, a lot of really interesting cases for the law nerds. But our favorite of all, I'm sure you can all agree, and let me know down below if you agree, has to be Major Karens getting it handed to him. And this one is without a doubt one of the biggest Karens I've ever seen in one of these videos. This lady is so entitled and so nasty. And the way she speaks to the judge with such disrespect is unbelievable. So check it out and let me know what you think down below.
Mr. Kaiser, you want to come up and take a seat there? And Ms. Ridley, you're on the Zoom call?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you unmute yourself? Thank you. So these are cross petitions against each other. Ms. Ridley initially filed against Mr. Kaiser. Mr. Kaiser subsequently served Ms. Ridley. And then it says on the docket here, there was the issue of electronic service. Had you been served with this, ma'am? Were you aware this is happening?
I know that we could electronically serve someone. The courts told me I couldn't electronically serve him because I could have easily done that. So I don't know
So,
why
ma'am,
an appropriate service for him.
was that? No, I'm not sure what you're saying. Are you saying that this is improper service and you want to reset, but the important thing is you got it. And so we can either proceed today on these, or we could you're here now, and get you a copy of it and then reset it. And so, okay, I'm not quite done yet.
Mute myself then.
Yeah, mute yourself then, Karen, because you're not winning anything here if you keep interrupting the judge. We're off to a blinding start here.
So I kind of up to you as to how you want to proceed here today.
So I need clarity, Your Honor. I was told sending an email was not appropriate service, that I would have to have the sheriff okay, so what I'm asking is the court now considering his alleged service via email adequate service? Because then I was denied that right.
It's kind of up to you. If you say that, yes, I got it and I'm ready to go forward, that's fine. If you say, no, that was improper service, we'll get you a copy of it. Have you consider you served today and then go on?
Okay, well, with that being said, I guess I'll go ahead and proceed today, but I really feel like I should have been given that opportunity as well to serve the email.
Again, I don't know what conversations you have with others in terms of what Mr. Kaiser chose to do. Frankly, he was in front of me and I remember talking about that. I did indicate the statute does have some provisions in there about when that's allowed. And then he chose to do it and you're here, and it wasn't something that was granted by the court or anything. And so that's kind of where we're at. And so, like I say, if ready to go forward here today, having seen this stuff, we can. If you think that you need some additional time, given the manner of service, I'll allow that. That's up to you also. So it's entirely up to you as to how you want to proceed. A minute ago, you told me you wish to continue here today, which we can certainly do. But again,
I would just like to be treated equally to everyone else through the courts, because for him, if I read it correctly, Your Honor, you gave him a temporary order against me, and I was the same option. So that's what I'm saying. He's a grown man, way stronger than me, and you consider me more of a threat to him, and I wasn't given a temporary order, but you gave one to him.
Yeah, this ain't a birthday party. You don't get equal sized slices of the cake. Everything's looked at on a case by case basis. Now, I don't know that guy, but you seem pretty fucking nuts to me.
That to me is biased. But we can proceed today.
Okay, because you filed first. It seems like you both want the same thing. And so I'm kind of confused as to why I'm involved. But and I could just kind of leave that as kind of an open question. And with that, ma'am, I'll hear from you. Why is it that you feel like you need an order against Mr. Kaiser? And then I'll give him a chance to respond.
Well, because Mr. Kaiser is going out of his way to attack my character at every opportunity that's presented to him. I worked with them at the Masonic Memorial Cemetery, and I was already mistreated by him and my manager at the time, who he had served me the documents via email. So they basically abused the fact that they had access to all of my information as a former employee that worked for the place where he allegedly worked for a period of time, but he's no longer there. And while I was there, the reason why I stopped working there was because they were racist and biased and attacked me for another employee that Lauren made jealous by flirting with me in front of that employee, which caused her to be negative and aggressive towards me. And he blamed me for her behavior, didn't take any accountability for what he had done, which was be very flirtatious with me in front of her in the workplace. So he's the one to stay away from me. He's the one that called me several times and texted me where I had to call the police before. And you have the text messages, which the correspondence is not good. You probably can't even read it out loud. But he's the one that attacked me first in that group text message. He could have easily have sent me a private message saying, hey, Alexandria, you included me on this correspondence and I want nothing to do with it. And then I would have known he was accidentally included and I would have told him that and it would have been over. But he chose to attack me and try to expose me and slander me, even to my children. See, Lauren Kaiser doesn't have children. So he doesn't know how it feels to be violated in that way and how that can turn into someone being belligerent and wanting to attack you the way that you're attacking them. He doesn't have kids. So he has no idea what damage that may have done. But he should know in the court of law that when you slander someone in front of their children or to their children, that's grounds for a person to become irate.
Oh, I'm pretty full after all that word salad. So what you're getting at is that you want to get an order against him, not to protect yourself, not because you're worried about him coming after you or anything, but to give him a taste of his own medicine, to get back at him for something that he allegedly said or did about you, or the fact that he wasn't interested in you in that way. That's not what this is for.
Things kind of went sideways between you and Mr. Kaiser, and then you had submitted something on a group text. He responded with including this police report that had various allegations, which I know you disagree with. They're just allegations. And that's really kind of what, I'll use your words, made you irate. And that's part of the reason, or kind of why I hear. And when you say things like slander, is that what you're referring to? The circulation?
Yes, he gets slandering me to my former employer, who was my manager. He has seniority over me and that manager when he was working there. So I feel like he's abusing his power even against that person, even though he's no longer there. He still has seniority over that person because he's on the board or whatever of the Masons. So he's abusing his power on several different levels, and he will not stop taking opportunities to attack my character, and him including all of my names. Who cares? Why don't he name all the 3 and 4 wives of his failed marriages that he had in the document?
Because they're not relevant,
ma'am. He's attacking my, and he needs to get a taste of his own medicine. This man thinks he can do whatever he wants, and no one is supposed to react to him.
Again, protection orders are for protection. They're not to be used as a weapon or as a counter-offensive against somebody that you don't like.
Do you still work there where?
No, because of him. Because of him, I no longer work there. Because of our sexual relationship, his flirting in front of the girl he claims is like a daughter to him, but she wants to date him. She wants to have sex with him. She knew him before I did, and she got angry because he liked me. And she started assaulting me and saying little racist things to me when they weren't around. And when I brought it to Terry, who is the manager's position, who served me the documents, when I brought it to his attention that she was doing those nasty things to me in the workplace out of jealousy, they both jumped on her side against me.
Hold on a minute.
So we've had problems ever since because he claims she's like a daughter. But that girl, I asked her if she was interested in Lauren and why her and Lauren didn't date if she liked him. And she said it was because she has a lot going on in her life and she didn't feel like Lauren was attracted to her. Well, that's not my problem, but he caused it with his bold flirtatiousness in the workplace.
Okay. So what I'm getting here is the guy's obviously a bit of a player of some description. You didn't like that. I know you got your panties all bunched up. You're trying to use a restraining order against him because you don't like what he said about you.
So, ma'am, I'm going to hear from Mr. Kaiser now.
A few moments ago, she said that if I just would have told her privately that I didn't want her to contact me, she would have realized I was accidentally included in that text. In the text messages themselves, she writes, file a restraining order if you want me to stop texting you, bitch. I hate your fake ass. So I would say that pretty much contradicts what she has to say there. I am asking that the court dismiss her petition because I don't think that she's met any burden that's required to show that I've been harassing her. And I believe that, she has like 3 different petitions for restraining orders currently against 3 different parties pending before this court. She had one in July where somebody brought one against her neighbor, and then they dismissed it, and she turned around and filed one against them. I think she's using this case as another way to harass me, and I am asking for a protection order. And given that she went over a year without contacting me and then started this up, I'd like it for an extended period of time, and I'm asking for 5 years.
And Ms. Ridley, I saw you speaking there as he was speaking. Go
I
ahead.
I was muted, so I didn't.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm asking you now, what you were saying, so I know you were muted.
Well, what do those other restraining orders have to do with this? Why is everybody trying to dig in my past and find other ways to include things that have nothing to do with what's going on with me and that particular person?
It's what we call propensity, Karen. Ever hear of the boy who cried wolf? It was about a boy who cried wolf. If he can point out and say, look, this lady just throws restraining orders at people that she doesn't like, she uses it as a weapon for her own use, you can clearly see that she's nuttier than squirrel poo, so please dismiss. I'd say that's pretty reasonable.
This is about me and Lauren, okay?
Right.
If he wants to be deep about things, why don't he talk about what went on in the bedroom
I'm listening.
between me and...
Because that doesn't matter here.
Doesn't matter, does it? But he keeps saying things that don't matter, that has nothing to do with this. So he needs to stick to the subject at hand. And the reason why I said what I said to him was because of his former harassment of me. And at that time, I was belligerent and irate and wanting to attack him back because my actions was a reaction to Lauren's initial attack.
Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. Or in her case, every action has an opposite and equal overreaction.
If he had not attacked my character and tried to assassinate it before my family and closest friends, I would not have said what I said. So he started it, couldn't finish it, and now he's playing Karen the victim.
Really? Really? He's playing Karen the victim? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Really? I mean...
Get out of here.
And then you're talking about the text on the group text, yes?
Yes, you saw what he said, Your
I
Honor.
did.
You saw what I sent. I didn't send anything saying, Lauren, this is for you, or attacking Lauren at all personally. So he had no business trying to assassinate me before my children, on who he knew was on that group text.
I think on your comments, it seems like you were acquainted with each other.
Giggity.
Again, about a year ago. Again, I don't have the dates written down, but it was about a year ago through work. And then went quite an extended period of time without corresponding or talking, or is that correct?
And the only reason why that was because I cut Lauren off. And if you want me to forward that email correspondence, I'll send it to you where he was trying.
No, I don't need that. But
told him
okay.
no.
But my understanding is regardless of who cut who off, my understanding is that was started up again when you had some issues and
You're
reached
right.
out to him for whatever reason. I know that didn't work out, but I'm just saying the connection was reestablished when you reached out to him. Is that accurate?
What happened as a result of that? Yes, I was going to use Lauren for his judicial abilities. He's an attorney. So yes, I was going to use him and pay him. I told him I would pay him for his services. And he came to the jail to see me. So if he didn't want to have anything to do with me, why the hell even show up to the jail and act like you were going to help me?
Back up the truck. So you're telling me that this all happened a year ago? A whole year ago. The stuff that you say he said, which is why you want this order. Then somehow, for whatever reason, you ended up behind bars and you called the guy that you now want a restraining order against for something that happened way back then to come and bust you out. Am I missing something here? You said you cut him off for destroying your character and then you call him to get you out of jail. I'm flabbergasted by this lady. My gast has been well and truly flabbered.
Something's wrong with Lauren. He needs to get an evaluation. He's the one that needs help, not me. I'm already getting help. Thank you very much.
I think I speak for everyone when I say get more and get even more help for the person that has to help you in the first place.
Specifically asking that you dismiss her petition. She has not established anything that approaches me harassing her. I'll go back to my original question here. So, and again, I also say, not all conflict, not all dysfunctional communication rises to the level of harassment. Sometimes it's just two people being mean to each other. And in that regard, I spoke earlier, why am I involved when you both want the same thing? And so based on everything I've said, I'm going to make a finding that in neither case at this point rises to the level of harassment. So both petitions are going to be denied. But I'm also going to say, after all this, after all these texts, hearing in court, you both know how you feel at each other. So I will say this, if any contact from either side reaches out to the other party, I would consider that harassing in the future. So Ms. Ridley, you send a text to Mr. Kaiser, he can come back and he'll get an order. It'll probably be longer for a year and he won't have to say too much about it. He'll get it. And the same is true for you. Mr. Kaiser reaches out to you. You can come back. You can ask for an order and I tell you both, you'll probably get it. And so that's kind of where I'm at on that. So I'll hold you to your words that you don't want to contact each other. Don't. And again, if either one of you contacts the other, we'll see you again. And the other person should not be prepared to argue too hard against it because after going through all this. You understand that, Ms. Ridley?
Yes, and I agree. Thank you.
And then I've entered denial orders and those can be emailed.
Okay, you're right.
You're welcome. You're free to leave the Zoom call there, Ms. Ridley.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day, Miss Ridley. Hope your bunny soup turns out nice. So folks, there we have it. We got a jilted lover here, that's what it is. Hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned. But this one had some fury, man. And she left it off at everybody. I don't think either of them should have got an order in this case. And thankfully the judge agreed with that. But I'd love to hear what you have to say about this whole case down below. Anyway, folks, we will catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed the video, make sure and hit the like button, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Consider grabbing yourself some Irish Demon merch as well. It's available in the description down below. Sancha.